Hi everyone, so today I have the Stampin' Die set that Die & Press has brought to HSN for the August Craft Days. It is the Stampin' Die kit called Smore-Tastic, so let's check this out. It sounds really cute. I will say they did send this item free of charge for my review, and of course all opinions are my own, and the links I have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So thank you for using those if you would like. Sometimes, people aren't quite sure where they are, especially with HSN and YouTube. If you go down to the description box and you expand it, they should be listed at the very top. Sometimes I have like links where it has the name and then you click it that way. If it's in the video, sometimes you have to do is hover in the video like with your cursor, and then a little thing that says shop products or show products will pop up. You can click on that and then they'll expand over here on the right of your screen. It just depends on how you're watching, and if you're on a tablet, phone, computer. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. I can see these little guys right here. So thanks for using those guys. It really does help keep the channel going, and it's my job to be here, so that's part of how I get paid. So a very main part of how I get paid. So thank you for using them, guys. Look how cute. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's look at the instruction sheet before we go on to check these guys out. So they're showing you have some stamps and dies. So you have like your typical s'more there with the die, a little smaller guy, the little marshmallows, the chocolate, and the graham, that all separate. How cute is that? And then the dies for them. You can layer up your own thing. Look, it has like I would say that's like the marshmallow, and then you have some different pieces that help you make your own layered up sandwich, which is really fun. So your graham cracker, this portion here, and then like what looks like chocolate kind of melting. That is adorable. Oh, they're showing you here how you would do those. So you get the little guy with the oh my gosh, excuse me. You think I'd get more than a minute in before I get tongue-tied. You have the little guy with his graham cracker on top of his head, and then all the layers there. That is so cute. And again, you can make a classic one just layered up like that. You have the little character here, so you can do the little arms if you want to add arms to these pieces. That is adorable. A little double-decker here. Look at that with the die for it. A little party hat, maybe some little chocolate for the marshmallow. The little trio of marshmallows that are super cute. Little puddle of like chocolate and individual, marshmallow. So cute. Oh my gosh, over here they're showing you can have the little stick with the marshmallows, and so then you can pop them through there. Or at least that's kind of the look you want to get. A little log with some fire, so you can do your little log with fire, and then different layers of fire. Funny enough, there's some kind of fire. I don't know what's going on, but I had a migraine yesterday because I cannot handle the smell of smoke anymore. It's crazy. So when we go on the RV, I used to, just fine. Everyone's making s'mores, but now it just sets off a headache so bad. So I have to take medicine if I want to enjoy that. A little heart and little stars, or like little stars, just something fun to play with. Life sure is s'more fun with friends like you. Here's to s'more years of happiness. You are so loved, or you are loved s'more, then laugh s'more, worry less. I mean, there's just a lot of s'more puns. If you want to pause on that, you can check them all out. You melt my heart. And then, just a ton of ideas. Of course, this is super duper cute. Okay, so they come with the cutting folder for the marquee. And again, if you don't have a marquee or a die and press cutting system, these will run through any machine that cut thin metal dies. They are all interchangeable, guys. So if you have other dies that come into the marquee or the grand marquee, great. If you have a different machine and you want to purchase the set or any of the die and press sets, or really any thin metal die from any company, it'll go through your machine. No worries. So again, here we have these different little guys. Oh my gosh, there's so much. I don't know which one I want to try out. Just super adorable. And then the dies here. So I'll give you an idea of how big these little characters are. They're a good size. Of course, the big s'more here is just about 2 inches, I would say, by 3. Your little stick there is like 4.5. This little trio, they're so cute. They're about 3 inches wide. So that gives you some idea, okay? So let me grab some cardstock, and we'll just go from there. So I'll be right back. Okay, guys. So I think I'll do our little s'more trio. The little characters there. So I'm just going to make a card base, standard A2 size. Let's think. Let me see about how big these guys are. If I should put them... Yeah, we'll probably do a landscape type card. So let's do it in a fun way though. So let's cut our paper at 4 1/4. I gotta make sure this paper is 11 inches wide. This is some paper I picked up at Michael's, the Recollections paper, and it's 1/8 of an inch all around larger than what you would want. And so if I was just to score this at 5.5, one side would have an extra 1/8 of an inch, which is not great. So you always want to go ahead and trim that off if you're running into that same issue with this particular paper. So then 5.5 inches in the other direction. Yeah, at first I was like, why am I always cutting this crooked or doing this crooked? And then I realized some papers just don't work out right, so I always measure them now. I will say this paper is perfectly well sized. This is just my background, so 5 3/8. I'm going to cut this down anyway by 4 1/8. And I will say any die and press papers, pattern papers, those kinds of things you've had in the past or the ones you're picking up now are exactly the size they say, which is nice. I don't know why that paper has that issue. And we're just going to put it this way. So my card is going to look like it stands up this way, but it's going to open up this way, which I think is cute. Just something different. So let's just glue this down. And then I'm going to stamp a few characters here. I don't know if I have enough space to put my sentiment plus the little guys on here on this front part, but we'll see. So there's another pretty piece of cardstock there. So I might do the sentiment on the inside. We'll just play that one by ear. This is alcohol ink marker paper. I want to stamp the chocolate and a marshmallow and a graham cracker. Now, I mean, you can definitely stamp this like on a brownish kind of colored cardstock, this on white, of course, and maybe, you know, I would stamp this one on white also because I need to color it, but I'm just going to go for this and then use alcohol ink to color those in. Let me see if I can just go for it. These are acrylic stamps. They don't have a dispersion layer on them or anything like that, but I am using hybrid ink. That can be a little dry, so sometimes you want to be able to stamp it a couple times, especially to get like the black of like the areas that need to be really nice and black. But let's see, I'm gonna hold that there, and if it's good, then I'll just go for it like that. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. Give myself a little room. I'm not sure exactly how far the dies touch around these little guys. Again, just making sure everything's touching. Looks good. And the last one. Okay, since this is a hybrid ink, you need to let it dry before you go in with your alcohol ink markers or they can smear. So I will clean up a little bit, let those dry, and grab some markers in the meantime. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I just grabbed a few things. I don't really know what to do with the graham cracker. Let's start with some brown, like a darker brown kind of around the edge. This is actually the medium brown. And then I was thinking about pulling the color in with some of my neutral colors. Let's see. Maybe not. Let me see what chocolate light looks like. Yeah, because that's still pretty dark. That's why I wanted to go with another one. Okay, let's go with the light one. Just kind of... You're supposed to start in with the medium color and kind of pull that in. And then I was going to go to, like I said, a neutral, but let me see which one. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's go neutral. It is more of a pinky brown color, but I think it'll be okay. And I'm coloring over the whole thing. If you want to preserve the little white in the eyes, you can definitely do that, or you can come in with a gel pen afterward and do that. So I'm going to pull more color in around here, just so it's a little bit darker, just around the edges. And I don't like the way I left that one part open in the very center, so let me do that again. And then again, just around here. I see in the very center I had an area that I feel like I didn't blend too well, so I had to go over the whole thing again. And what I mean is go ahead and do that and then come in with like a gel pen and make sure a gel pen is working. That's always a thing. Make sure it's ready to go. And just preserve that, or bring that little white speck back into the eyes. I know it's very small, but I can show you what that looks like. There you go. And then I was going to do pink cheeks, but I went through the whole thing and maybe you're not even going to see them. So let's not do that. Okay, for this guy, I will do some little pink cheekies. Let me see where they're suggesting those should be if they have them on this. Yeah, just under here. Now, I knew that was going to be kind of a dark splotch or like just a circle like that, so that's a very light pink. I'm going to come with my blender and just soften it around the little edges just a little bit. Just kind of doot, doot, doot. And that'll just kind of blend away a little bit. Oh, I did not grab a light blue. Sorry, guys. We want a very, very light blue, like the lightest, or a neutral color since this is a food item. Yeah, that's kind of dark, but you know what? Okay, so I like to just kind of come in and give a little shadow, just so it's not like I just left it white. And then you can bring in your blender, which is an eraser, and just kind of go over that again to soften that up too. But, I mean, you can use like a light brown, like a tan color, just because it is a food item. Maybe it's more of a vanilla look than icy blue, but there you go. And then this guy, my chocolate with my dark brown. I'll come in here with my darkest brown color. And I'm just going to color the whole thing. You don't have to preserve. But if you want to, maybe make the darker, like those little dots in the center or the squares in the center darker. That was the darkest brown. Then we're going to go into medium. Pull that in. A little bit here and there. Then my lightest brown, which is not that. Just going against there. Now if you want, maybe I bring in like the medium. Right now that's nice and saturated, and add a little shadow in here. That's about it. Okay, and then I brought red for the wrapper. Now, this inside of the wrapper could be like a silver color, so maybe I'll leave that alone. So let's do dark red. Just down in here. That's the darkest red ever, so I'm going to do that. I'll probably come back in and do that a little bit more. And then I got the medium red with me. Just pull that down. Again, I went over the little face, the eyes, and I'll just bring that back in with a gel pen. And what I'm going to do is grab like a gray. If you have a glitter pen, that'd be really nice, or a glittery or metallic gel pen. And we could make it look more silvery, but I'm going to go with like a medium color gray, just like in here, maybe a little bit, and then a light gray. And that way it looks like that was like a silver wrapper. And let's bring that little highlight back in on his little eye. And a white gel pen can do all kinds of things for you. So, I mean, if you want to do that, you can add some little, maybe even some shininess to this, right? Just add some little lines like that, and it makes it look like it's shiny. Lots of things. Okay. And the dice. I was like, what am I looking for? So, I don't know if I'm going to cut that 100%, so let me show you what I would do. And also, I mean, if you want to do drop shadows for these characters, you can definitely do that. And you can do it in a way that helps you also cut them out. So let me show you what I mean. This is alcoholic marker paper, and yes, I will keep this. I'll put that back in my stash separately with my alcoholic marker paper, so I know that I can use it on a different project. Okay, for this guy, well, that one's kind of big. Let's do this one. You know, if you're not 100% sure that's going to cut exactly where you want, you can make yourself an aperture. I haven't done this in a while on camera. Basically get a piece of cardstock. If you're going to do a drop shadow, get a piece of cardstock that you would like to use. But find an area that's more flat. This one has a lot of flat areas, so does this. Sometimes it's a little trickier to do. And, oh, I was over here looking for a folder. I have one right in front of me that just came with. You're going to run that through. And then you're going to use that to help you cut the image you do want to use. And maybe I'll drop shadow these guys. I'm not sure, but I just use black. Anyway, so we have that. So if you're going to do a drop shadow, you would save that, of course. Otherwise, you would just put that to the side. Bring this. Open this guy up. And yeah, I mean, that's a really, really zero clearance almost die cut. So I can see exactly where I'm cutting. Don't remove this. Make sure it pops right back down to the same area it came out of. Add at least one more piece of washi, and then you can hold it or whatever you need to do for your machine. I'll crank that guy through. And I'll do the same thing for all 3 pieces. So this is, I'll put that right on there, and look at that. Perfect. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for the other ones. If you want to save this, you can definitely just keep this like that. You know, or save the piece of cardstock at least so you can nestle it back in there with a new piece of washi if you're wanting to do that. Otherwise, you can just make one every time, especially if you're going to drop shadow, you're going to do it anyway. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so last one. Again, I just did my little trick on all of them. This is a really old thing that we've been doing for a very long time. It used to be back in the day you would get dies that were a whole solid piece, kind of like this. Like this one, you know, obviously we're not going to line up with anything, but let's say this one. So you can't really see what you're cutting, so it's always good to have that little trick in your back pocket to help you cut things more perfectly. Okay, so let me see how these guys, like the size of them. And then again, you can do the little arms, or maybe have little arms there if you want. I'm thinking I will drop shadow them. Why not? So let's see. If I have this guy here, I don't know if the drop shadow should be on the same side for every piece, like to the right or to the left. Okay, we can do that. They can be the same. So a little bit to the, this way to the left and down. Okay, and I guess we can do them all the same way. I was gonna say you can do this one this way if you want, but it would stand to reason that the shadow would be in the same spot for all of them, right? Like if the lights come in this way, I don't know. Okay, so that guy, and then I'll glue this one also together in that same kind of thing like this. Okay guys, we have our little characters, and then I'm looking at our sentiment, but maybe we do, let's do this one. Life sure is more fun with friends like you. And I'm thinking about doing a strip. I think I've cut this paper a couple times. Is that straight? Let's see if that's straight. Not really. So let me take this. Let's cut a little bit of that off, just to straighten it up. And let's see, our card base, white and blue. Okay, so let's do this guide 5.5 inches, so it goes across the whole card. And maybe I should cut this afterward, but I'm doing it now. And then have her deep like that. Something like that. We'll squeeze that in there somewhere. Maybe a little higher up. So that is about 1 1/4, maybe a little bit deeper than 1 1/4. And then I'm going to want a black band behind that, so if that's 1 1/4, I know this paper's all crooked, so let's cut a piece off of this to straighten that out too. I don't know if I have enough to do 1 1/2 here, but let's see. Oh, that's not good. It was a small little bit that I cut off, so sometimes it leaves like little burrs. Okay. Let's go 5 1/2 on this direction. And let's see if I have enough for 1.5. Do I? 1.5. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's like just on there. Do you see that? Okay, 1.5. Maybe it's my blade. I recently replaced that, so anyway, let me clean this up because I have some little like burrs. I know you can't see them, but I can. I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and put that on a stamp positioner, and I mean, you can use the positioner to help us center this and make sure everything's straight, but I'm just eyeballing at this point. You know, there's a little bit here, there's like 1.5 inches or so. Let's see, 1 inch. Yeah, that's good. You can also put it, you know, justified left or justified right, whatever you like. I think to the right would be cute. And we can do this a fun, colorful color, or I think I'm just going to go with some black ink. So let's grab that. Gonna heat set it, all that kind of fun stuff. The little springs, you can hear them kind of. Looks good. Okay, I'm going to clean up just a little bit and we'll put our card together. So again, this is just over 1.25 inches by 5.5, and then this one's like 1.5 by 5.5. And I'll be right back. Okay, so let's glue these guys together. What was it? And then I pretty much made this so it's just like a band down the center, so just kind of eyeball that, make sure that's nice and even. Oh. Didn't want to smear this in case it was still a little bit wet. And I'm going to put that right down here, I think. That looks really cute and clean. I love it. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this and making sure we're good left to right. That looks really nice. I'm going to hold that down for a little bit. But with these guys, I think we're going to have them like in here somewhere. Maybe this guy's popped up a little bit. I'll be right back. Actually, we can do this right now. So, again, I like to do a lot of things where it's like glued down, then up here. I think I'm just going to glue these guys down, and then this guy can have a little bit of dimension. So, that's that about that. If you want to give them rosy cheeks, of course, if you're going through a color like brown or like this red, you're going to want something darker or more obvious, right? I didn't give rosy cheeks to those background characters, but there you go. Yeah. Cute. And I think that a black drop shadow really set everything off in a really, really fun and cute way. And let's see. I'm just going to put, maybe I'll cut this in half. Have some larger kind of dimensionals here. They have some good height to them. So just the one here and here. They're pretty thick there. Cute. So there's that dimension, and then I'll hold his little legs down, and then we'll look at our card. Okay, guys, there is our card. Super adorable. I mean, you can always stamp your sentiment on the inside. I think that looks really cute. Very cartoony. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you so much, Diamond Press, for sending these items for review. I'll have some images coming up. Again, links as available down in the description box, possibly embedded in the video. And I will see you all at the next one. Bye now.